Hi everybody, it's Mike. I'm one of the admins from the Facebook Moon Landing Hoax Group. And today I got a special presentation to share with you. I'm sharing screens with you on a particular Apollo photo. Now the Apollo photo I'm going to show you right now is from Apollo 15. It is Apollo photo number AS15-86-11670. Now the AS15 is for Apollo 15, 86 is magazine 86, the photo number 11670. Now in this photo, as well as photo number 11671, you see this rock right here. Now this rock is referred to as the Genesis rock, okay? Now if you go to the Apollo website, which was taken down for reasons I'm going to get into in a minute here, but thank God I screenshot it, right? So I got the screenshot right here from a particular Apollo website, and it shows that photo number. So this is AS15-86-11671. I told you it's photo 11670 and 11671. Both of them show this rock right here. This is a rock of a particular sample designated 15415, which is called the Genesis rock. It's a famous Apollo rock. Okay, so let me show you that rock here. I'm going to go to, on Wikipedia you can find it. I know it's not the most reliable source, but it's on there. And it shows the sample again, 15415. It says that's the sample, that's the Genesis rock. Remember on NASA's website again, 15415. Boom, same rock right in that particular photo. Okay, and you can even see they did a report. You can click linked from Wikipedia here on the nasa.gov website where it goes over that photo, that rock rather, in strenuous detail. And again, you have the sample here, rock number 15415. There it is. It's got that whitishness to it, if you will, a whole chemical analysis about the mysteries of this wonderful rock, referred to as the Genesis rock for short, okay? So the reason I'm bringing this up is this photo had to be part of the Apollo record, okay? So 11671 and 11670, that's 11671 right here, 11670, part of Apollo 15 record, got the Genesis rock in there, famous rock, photographed, got to be in there. But what do we have here? Well, take a look at the Apollo moon boot tread, okay? This is what the tread looked like in all of the Apollo missions. The tread here you see at the very bottom, I'm circling with my hand cursor right here. This is what the tread looks like in every single Apollo photo, and there are hundreds upon hundreds of photos ostensibly taken in all the Apollo missions 11 through 17 where they show these footprints. Now only in 11670 and 11671 do you see the footprint I've circled right here, okay? So let's take a look at it. You can see the treads are curved and thinner, right? So this is a shoe print. It does not match the tread for the Apollo moon boot. And this is the only photo, or these are the only photos, again, 11670 and 11671 of Apollo 15 magazine 86. I've looked at every single Apollo photo. I've been studying these photos for a number of years right now. I've looked at every single one of them, and I can tell you only in those two photos I specified do you see this particular shoe print in here, okay? Now this is where it gets interesting, all right? So you got the shoe print. What is that, right? Well, some trolls of ours like to say in our comment section, well, you know, he twisted his foot. Well, you can't twist your foot and shrink the tread size by 50% and make it curve like a saber. Look at where my finger cursor is going here. If you zoom in and look at this, you'll see that this tread is curving like a saber, okay? And it's much, much thinner, okay, than the regular moon boot tread. Now, there are some people you will see on the internet sharing a false meme, which doesn't get to the true evidence of Apollo fraud, like I'm showing here, this whistleblower Shoeprint they put down. And people will go and look at the Apollo astronaut spacesuit, and they'll say, well, look, there was no, shoe print, or tread rather, on the shoe, and I'm circling this right here to show you. Therefore, there could be no Apollo footprints on the ground. Therefore, Apollo is faked because there's a mismatch here in between what the official record says of the shoe and the actual tread print. But no, that's actually wrong. You can see the boots here. I'm circling to my right. These are the boots, and you can look at the official NASA website and record. This is what the moon boot looked like. They had treads like this. You can see I'm going up and down with the cursor. They made thousands of footprints allegedly on the moon. This is what they looked like. They did not look like this, okay? So what's going on here? What does that come from? Well, that is obviously a whistleblower shoe print put in there. And I find it interesting that they put it in this particular photo, because whoever was taking this photo on the set of Apollo 15 must have known there was some significance and specifically placed it there, because there was going to be much to do about this quote-unquote Genesis rock. Okay, you see pictured right here. There's a whole Wikipedia page on it. There's a whole article published in 2011 on this particular rock on NASA's website. Wow, isn't this interesting? You know, this is the Apollo moon rock. Now, as we know, there are moon rocks that orbit the Earth and land in Antarctica that have been collected and used for comparison for the to the Apollo moon rocks. And I guess that's how we know they're real, right? Because they match the moon rocks that we got from Antarctica. But, you know, you could treat and do things from those Antarctica rocks and make them look like they came from Apollo instead, right? So, you know, who's to say this is a moon rock anyway, right? But regardless of whether they got it from Antarctica or they took a robotic probe to the moon and got an actual rock and put it there, we do know that human beings cannot survive the journey to the moon, which is why the Apollo missions 11, 12, 13, Apollo 8 as well, Apollo 10 as well, and 14, 15, 16, and 17, those particular Apollo missions were faked. We have strong evidence. You can look at my prior live streams. Right now I'm up to live stream number 8, recording this on October 18th, 2022. But I have many different live streams where I go over all the different evidence of the different Apollo missions. And we have evidence each and every one of the ones that went beyond low Earth orbit were faked in a studio. And we can see right here the shoe print on that particular photo, Apollo 15-86-11670 and 11671. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this, and I had written an article about this, by the way, Apollo 15 on March 8th of 2020, okay? And the article's on my blog spot, stratagemsoftheright.blogspot.com. The article is called An Epistemological Study of Apollo 15, What If We Never Went to the Moon? This was, by the way, the first article I ever wrote publicly coming out questioning the moon landings. And what did it for me, well, this shoe print is interesting too, because that's easy for everybody to understand, but it was really what made me question all of this was a comparison photo I could show you right here. Okay, so I'm showing 6 photos from Apollo 15. The top row, they pivot. The bottom row, they don't pivot. But when you look at the positions of the lunar module, they are mutually exclusive. Therefore, this background you see here, this backdrop is fake. We can prove that just with common sense because the camera should be pivoting in this bottom row if it's also going to pivot in the top row. By the way, moving steps to the side, like you see in this bottom row, I'm moving my mouse cursor back and forth to show you. These photos were taken by moving steps aside as opposed to the top. You can see the camera pivoting on an angle. You see the lunar module position here I'm circling with my mouse cursor, and then to the top left you can see the lunar module here. This would be only possible if the camera were pivoting, but you can see it is not pivoting. And you know, I show you another example of the positions in my article of where the mountains were taken on the LPI website, where they show the directions south and east. And no, that's not possible south and east if the astronaut is just taking steps aside. It's got to be pivoting, okay, turning the camera in order to get that. Not doing that, right, which is why we know that Apollo 15 was faked. And I even show you here. Here's how a camera will pivot. You show a street view. A camera's going pivot 90 degrees, boom, boom, boom. That's how it works in the top row. The same thing has to happen in the bottom row. It is not. This soil sample that you see will have to turn. If the soil sample isn't turning, okay, then that means that the camera isn't turning. And if the camera isn't turning, then the mountain backdrop is not going to change like you see here. It's only going to change if the camera turns 90 degrees. So that's like the stronger evidence, I would argue, that the Apollo 15 mission was faked. I show another example here, a snow patch I recorded back in 2020 in my backyard. I put a shoe to show you how it angles 90 degrees, and you look at, sure enough, the soil patch, you see the shoe right there, it is not angling 90 degrees. But that's kind of, it requires a little bit of horsepower in the mind to understand that, a little bit of understanding of perspective and visual spatial IQ to kind of get that. I go over it in the article, but I think what's easier for most people to understand is the Shoeprint, right? So we know Apollo 15 is fake just by the discrepancy in those rows of photos I showed you, but there's also this whistleblower clue on the Shoeprint. Now, where do you get this photo, by the way? Well, multiple places, but it was on a website, okay? Spaceflight.nasa.gov. So if you noticed, I published my article on March 8th of 2020, and I linked to the photo right here. I put a hyperlink and footnote number 12, okay, public website right here. And I knew that NASA would take it down, right? So of course I took a screenshot of it. And what did they do here? Number one, in this what was it again? Spaceflight.nasa.gov website they had. They listed the photo. They put a thumbnail, but they cropped out, okay, the Shoeprint. Isn't that interesting? Now, back then, if you were to click the actual image, low res or high res, it would show you the whole photo. And this is what it looks like, by the way. It would show you that Shoeprint. But what they decided to do for the website was crop it out, right? But they couldn't not publish this photo on the website because it carries that famous, or shows rather, that famous Genesis rock. And it shows the number 15415. You go to the website, there it is. You go to the report on the rock on NASA's website. When you download the PDF, there it is. The whole thing shows the same rock number, and it's photographed in there, so they got to show it to you. But what did they do? Well, on Thursday, February 25th, the website spaceflight.nasa.gov was decommissioned and taken offline. Well, why did they do that, right? Well, clearly when a researcher, and I'm not necessarily taking credit myself for this, I don't know how many people have seen the Shoeprint, but I can tell you, interestingly enough, that on our website or our Facebook page, I have shared this meme on there, and it's gotten tens of thousands of views, right? So I will put up this exact meme multiple times on our Facebook group, and it'll get tens of thousands of people looking at our particular Facebook page. And lo and behold, this was popular way back in December, January is when this really exploded and our group really took off. Really started, I would say, November of 2021. And here we go, February 25th, 2021, they had taken that down, right? So my website or our Facebook page, when I would link to this, lo and behold, NASA took down the link. But that's why you screenshot everything, right? So if you're a researcher, just a little tip, make sure to take a screenshot of everything you find, because you never know when NASA's going to retire it. Now, the photos are still available. You have to go to the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal, okay? So you can see it right here, www.hq.nasa.gov/ALSJ/A15/A15.html. That takes you specifically to the Apollo 15 Lunar Surface Journal page. There's a main page you can go to. It's called the ALSJ for short, Apollo Lunar Surface Journal. It's managed, of course, by a private party, and I always like to even though it's on NASA's website, but I always like to point this out every time I do one of these videos. These Apollo Lunar Surface Journal photos and all the information contained on NASA's website, they put this lovely disclaimer here, and I'll just quote it for you again. They say, "The journal is, in Neil Armstrong's words, a living document and is constantly being modified and updated. Please don't hesitate to let us know about errors. We want to get it right, but sometimes that can take a while. We would like to thank everyone for their help and patience. You may email the editors concerning typos, factual errors, or with general comments at apollolunarsurfacejournal@gmail.com. So you have the website headed by founder and editor emeritus Eric M. Jones. Now it's being edited by Ken Glover. These are private parties managing with a Gmail account all of the Apollo records. So if you want to know in extensive detail, because NASA keeps taking down pages, as I showed you, they haven't taken down, though, the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal, but of course it is a what? Living document. Okay, meaning they are welcome to change it at any time, right? Just like you may have heard some people, mainly on the political left in the United States of America, refer to a judicial form of jurisprudence called, where they liberally interpret the United States Constitution in order to expand the meaning of the words beyond their plain text. Well, people like that will refer to the United States Constitution as a living document, which is a fancy way of saying, well, the document doesn't say X, Y, or Z, but we're going to interpret the document differently in a modern way in, let's say, 2022, for example, or, they kind of started all this way back in the 1960s, and even before that, depending on when you want to go back to, the Constitution and jurisprudence and how they used to argue with it way back in the day. But I think this living document stuff really took off in America in the 1960s. And, that just meant that, okay, the U.S. Constitution now means whatever the judges think it means, I guess within reason. They can expand the text of the words to mean something different. Well, the same principle, living document, is applied to the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal, which means that, it can mean whatever the hell they want it to mean, right? Now, those photos I specified are still in the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal. I'm sharing screens to show you. We have AS15-86-11670. And what does it say here? It gives the exact time that the photo was taken ostensibly. You can click and download and look at the photo. Look, there it is. It's still on the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal on the nasa.gov website. It is still a formally labeled photo, AS15-86-11670, as well as 11671. Click that, boom. Same thing, you see the photo of the footprint on an angle here. Still show the you know, the quote-unquote Genesis rock they put on there. But you can still see the shoe print. Well, isn't that interesting? You can only see it at the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal website, because on the other section of the NASA Gov website, February 25th, 2021, they said will be decommissioned and taken offline. So they took it offline, but I can testify to you, swear to God, that back on March 8th, 2020, I published this article. I screenshot this from that exact website, and this is what it said. They cut off the bottom of the shoe print to hide it from you. You had to click the link to see the full photo, and went through this particular rock number, which is the Genesis rock, which is why they had to list it on the spaceflight.nasa.gov website, which of course has been retired. Now, is that Genesis rock a genuine rock? Well, who the hell knows, right? You can look at MLH Livestream number 4. I go into the bullocks of the moon rocks and how it's not sense to say that, you know, just because we see these rocks that come back, you know, are they really from the moon? There's even a NASA web page on the website solarsystem.nasa.gov where we go over Earth's oldest rock found on the moon, Apollo 14 moon rock. It actually, it says, it may contain a bit of the Earth from 4 billion years ago, right? So in this article that you can read on solarsystem.nasa.gov, what they say is that this giant rock they found for Apollo 14 and brought back, well, what happened was it was an Earth rock that bounced off of Earth and landed on the moon. Can you believe that? If you read the article, that's what it says. Now, one possibility, it was just an Earth rock that they're claiming is from the moon. But no, we know Apollo was real, right? Look at all the photographs that show that it was real. We have all these Apollo photos showing that they landed men on the moon. Look at all these photos from Apollo 15 and all that. Well, of course, we know the photos and videos were taken in a studio. We can prove it dozens of different ways. If you go to my website, I have countless examples on stratagemsoftheright.blogspot.com. But lo and behold, even NASA admits that, you know, the biggest rock from Apollo 14 is actually an Earth rock. It just happened to bounce off Earth somehow and land on the moon. So I don't know, maybe an asteroid ran, they call it a meteor, right? When it goes through the Earth's atmosphere and then crashes into the Earth, it's a meteorite. Meteor when it's crashing, meteorite when it lands, and must have caused an explosion. Boom, an Earth rock bounces off and, you know, goes into Earth orbit, lands on the moon. Now, maybe that could happen. Well, what are the odds that this guy right here from Apollo 14 is just going to so happen to pick it up and bring it back, right? The odds when we have all of this evidence that the photos are fake, are the odds that, you know, that's really an Earth rock that just so happened to land on the moon, or is it really just an Earth rock, right? I mean, we all know the common example, the Apollo 11 moon rock found in the Dutch Museum that they found out was petrified wood. You can Google that article from, I think it was wrote around 2009. That's still up. And then obviously the more recent example, Apollo 14, like I've been telling you about here. So anyway, that's about all today. I just thought you'd find that interesting that, you know, Apollo 15 was faked. They left a whistleblower clue. It was a shoe print, and it was covered up by NASA. They took down the photo. You can still find it on the Apollo Lunar Surface Journal, though. And the reason that a photo had to be entered in the record is because the whistleblower knew, hey, if I'm going to put this shoe print down, I better put it down on something that matters. And they're making a big deal out of this stupid Genesis rock. I'll show them. I'm going to put my shoe print down on there, and that's going to show them. So anyway, guys, this has been the MLH Moon Landing Hoax live stream number 8. I'll do a number 9 coming in the future if you enjoy these. And I am putting these up on YouTube now. So we have a YouTube site, Moon Landing Hoax. Of course, you won't be able to find it. I'll show you an example. Maybe right here I can pull it up. If I go to youtube.com and you type in Moon Landing Hoax, right, you won't find us. All you find are debunking videos. All it is look at these fools that think, who started this nonsense, right? All it is fact check. You know, like here, this is a classic example of the fact check. Boot and blueprint mismatch proves NASA fake 1969 moon landing. The problem with this, see what they do, and they do this crap on purpose, right? What they do is they straw man the argument. So the argument is what I'm saying, okay, which is the footprints don't match. But what they do is they straw man it and they say, well, you know, look at, where was it? This shoe print here, there was an overshoe, so therefore, you know, the footprints actually do match, right? So I've actually even shared this article as well as this photo with people to ask them. And what people do is they link me to these stupid debunking videos, right? Like the woman that you saw down here, I forgot exactly where it was. It says, yeah, well, the shoe print is perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm circling it right here. Fact check, boot and boot print mismatch proves NASA faked the 1969 moon landing. Well, I'm going after Apollo 15, not Apollo 11 in the photographs, but nonetheless, my point is you will not be able to find us, right? So what you actually have to do is, you know, I'm trying to think of how you can even find us. Like I'll type MLH Livestream number 5 or something like that. I have these on YouTube. So that's literally what you have to do to find us, right? So you type in MLH Livestream number 5, you'll find our YouTube channel. Otherwise, they won't show it to you. And boom, you can see it right here. We got 314 subscribers. So that's how you find us. Just type in MLH Livestream number 5 or number 4 or whatever, and you'll be able to link to us. But you can't type our name, Moon Landing Hoax, because that's blocked by YouTube. So we got a YouTube group, we got a Facebook page that you can go to, obviously, and see us. If you're seeing us on YouTube, you just want to go to the Moon Landing Hoax Facebook group. Boom, here we are, 41,900 members. So I'm doing these live streams first from Facebook, and then they get put on YouTube later. So, you know, find us on Gab. In the description box, there'll be links on how to find us on Twitter, how to find us on Gab. Obviously, we're on YouTube, and our biggest audience is on Facebook. So I'll be making more of these in the future. Great chatting with you guys all today. Have a good day, and I'll see you on the next Moon Landing Hoax live stream. Take care now. Bye-bye.